Hello everyone, CPAT here with another Exceed commentary. This is the Breakfast Club's first tournament dream match. Today we have a set between MiX and O'Mega. MiX, of course, well known for placing second at everything. Not probably, definitely one of the best players out in Exceed. It's O'Mega, some guy who I've actually never really seen slash interacted with before, so it should be an interesting match. Again, the rules for this tournament are that Season 1 is allowed, so we're going to be seeing some of these jank characters come out. Some of these characters that I've never seen before. Mix is going to be on the Mei Lian, on the blue side there. And looks like we have O'Mega on the Ulrich. Cool. Ulrich is a character I've never seen before. Let's take a look at that UA. As an action... Oh, Ulrich is just Propeller Knight? Wait, Ulrich's Propeller Knight on front side? What is... Is he just like cracked Propeller Knight on backside? What's going on here? Against Mei Lian, who we have seen twice now yesterday. I think you can reference the previous videos. This character just seems super busted to me. I've heard that Ulrich is good. I don't know if I don't really know anything past that. But anyways, looks like the match has already started. Looks like O'Mega will be taking first here, boosting Thunderclap. Each time you move, for each space you move, +1 power. Wait, look at that. Look at that Ultra. What? A 3-4-8 ignore armor? So you just can't stand at range 3 at the end game? Because otherwise you just... Wow. Man, these Season 1 shapes are so cool, man. I mean, by cool, I mean, like... I mean, that's got to be pretty lame to play against, but... Wow. I mean, they don't make them like they used to, you know? And Thunderclap's an interesting one there. I'm assuming it works on like dive, for example. So like if Ulrich chooses to strike with dive, his dive would be 6, 7, 8 power total. I'm assuming that's how that works. I don't see why it wouldn't work like that. So, wow, it just feels like the potential on this is just so high. But it's up against Mei Lian, so I don't know. I don't really know the kits are here. I'm not really gonna take a look at them before the match. Looks like a parry coming out from Mix, and the parry hits. The parry is on Lightning Javelin. Cool, very cool. We just have like a coffee shape that ignores armor for some reason. It does hit advance as far as possible, so in theory, this kind of shape would allow you to trade with something like a sweep in a lot of cases. Especially with that 3 range on sweep. But wow, I mean, it's an ignore armor. We've already seen 2 ignore armor moves from Ulrich that are both incredibly fast ranged options. And like he can just back up with his UA. I don't know what his backside UA is. I'm hoping it's something like... I have no idea what the backside UA would be without it being like incredibly stupid. Like surely it's not like additional power if you take the action. Looks like Mei Lian boosting Dragon Tempest, closing 2 and striking. So Mei Lian does have a 6-speed option here. She has a cross up. It's like a cross up mix up basically, is what Ulrich is looking at here. Looks like an EX coming out. So if this is an EX cross, that's gonna win basically everything. And it is the EX cross, just against just the plain assault. So yeah, unfortunately, doesn't really get the effects of Thunderclap because the movement on cross isn't after. But hey, still 4 power cross. Unfortunately, did have to burn the EX there, just in case Mei Lian played her own cross or her cross-up shape. But Ulrich takes 4, moves back into the corner, and boosts a free +3 power. I did not know this was legal to print, but... Or on a special, I guess. But here we are. We have a +3 power on the board, on like a relatively mediocre shape as well, just like an assault like. And yep, that lightning javelin, the 4-6 3-6 ignore armor is just gonna win. Taking that bet that the second one wasn't in Ulrich's hand, but it was. So just lightning javelin just deals 6 damage for a very fun reason, and Ulrich moves across the board. Mei Lian cannot hit back with, and even if she did have like a guarded move, she would not be able to hit back. Mix boosting armored guard. A little bit of a slow start for him, but he is building cards in that discard, which means that his second copy of those cards will have +0 to 1 range on front side. So as the game progresses, Melian does threaten more and more of those additional range options. Looks like both players are just taking a second to reload here. MiX boosting Dragon Thrash, Lightning Strikes twice, return your attack to your hand and put this card into your gauge, so a little bit of recursion there, on perhaps a powerful option that he's going to be using. But wow, this Ulrich character. I mean, this card's pretty underwhelming as a shape. It's just like a 3 power assault that doesn't give advantage, but the boost on it's just +3 power for free is insane. I think +3 power just feels like, to me, it feels like +3 power. I'm not sure if this is empirically true or anything, but +3 power just feels like it hits a lot of breakpoints that are scary. So seeing that on a boost for free, especially on a card that doesn't really do a whole lot for Ulrich, I feel like, or anyone really, it's just very, very insane. Looks like Ulrich is closing 1 and striking, threatening that. Oh no! And MiX loses another one. He does have 1 armor, so he will only take 4. That Dragon Thrash will return to hand. Oh, actually, wait, no, it won't. Because I think it's only a hit effect, right? Oh no, it's an after. So yeah, I mean, he's just stunned out. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, those Dragon Thrashes will get discarded as well as the spike. I don't think discard order really matters. So, but wow, Ulrich off to just an insane lead. 14 life, 3 gauge, and with an equal number of cards in hand, Melian has not been able to get anything done. That range doesn't matter for now because they're at range 1, so additional range literally matters on nothing. And this is such an insanely good start for Ulrich. Also getting the call right on that range 3 mix up. Looks like Melian initiating. Maybe this is a Raijin knife. No, it's a cross. That's the kind of mix up you're going for there. Raijin knife cross mix up. Focus beats the knife side of it because obviously knife pushes whereas cross retreats. That's the kind of mix up that Melian will threaten at range 1. As Ulrich boosts light at range 4. So I wanted to take a peek at the cards, but I think it would be better if I just left him as a surprise to see what kind of threats Ulrich can throw here. The one ultra we did see was a 3/4/8, so that's a little overkill. If Ulrich chose to move in 1 and strike, I think a 10 speed 4 power ignore armor is a little bit of overkill. But hey, you never know. Back to Melian here. Melian probably should be taking note of her discard just to see. Although MiX is a good player. He's probably already knows exactly what options give him additional range. Notably, if he strikes with a cross, that cross will have +2 power because it's in the gauge. But MiX taking a little bit of time to think here. He is finally on the board as far as health is concerned. Does have a little bit of gauge to work with, but really needs a little bit more before. Really needs a little more gauge. 3 would be great, so that way a card like this gets into play. And this is just an absolute monster of a card. I don't know why this is a thing, but looks like Melian opting to strike here at range 4. Reminder: both copies of that thing are gone. Looks like it's just a block into the Atomic Bolt, a 1/8/5. Advance until you move past the opponent. It's relatively expensive. It's a 3 gauger, but it's like a super dive. Wow. MiX baits it out successfully with the block though. Really well done. I really like that a lot. Discards a Cloud Rider, so reminder, just second one will have additional range. Ulrich boosting light once again at except this time at range 1. Boosting the light. I don't remember if there was a threat that we saw at range 1 that benefits really well from light, but we'll just have to see. MiX just opting to prep. Melian a little bit low on cards there, only at 3 in hand. Didn't really, if I'm remembering correctly, didn't really have like the best card engine. Looks like an EX Focus coming out from MiX, which will just absolutely just obliterate this 9 speed grasp. Looks like O'Mega trying to call out the Raijin knife there, which could like shockingly win a combat, but no, MiX just opting for the EX Focus, not taking any damage, and hitting back for 5. So Ulrich in the corner, although he can get out very easily with the UA. Oh, no, he can't. It's a close. Oh, Ulrich in the corner. And Melian red up on him. Melian does have the 3 gauge now, so that Raijin Oath is in play. Although maybe an Exceed's also in the cards. I'm not really sure how much MiX values the Exceed action over the 4-10-6 Ignore Armor Ultra. MiX boosting light, +2 speed. Lots of lights at range 1. Although I guess for Melian, she can kind of do some jank stuff. What a boost. What? Plus move any number of spaces and +2 speed. It does cost 2 force, so I think it's appropriately costed, but it's so weird seeing this kind of. This feels like a very polarizing boost. It seems super, super good. It's weird to see this on a special. Especially a special that's just like kind of. I mean, the special itself is not. It's not terrible. I mean, it's an okay. It's like passable shape. EX becomes really, really usable, I think. But so, what a boost! What a boost! Also matching light and going back to range 7, where I don't know if Ulrich has any options. I'm pretty sure Melian does not have any options at range 7, so she'll have to move in just a tad. Yeah, there's no way Melian has a range 7 option. So they can either sit here and taxi it out a bit, or they can, or one of them can commit resources. It's weird how Ulrich transforms to the other side of the board. Maybe he has a range 7 option that I'm unaware of, but I feel like I've seen all of his specials by now. Looks like this is going to be MiX spending force to move in. Currently committing 2 force, now committing 3. Spending the Halberdier as well. Which is interesting because a lot of people have been telling me how insane this card is, and yeah, I think we touched upon it yesterday. But yeah, this card's very, very strong. It just beats a lot of options at range 3. But looks like Melian opting to move to range 4. Again, that 3 gauge ultra, the Raijin Oath, is now a threat. At 8 speed. Reminder that both players currently have +2 speed on the board. Looks like Ulrich's going for it. He's saying, you have that Raijin Oath, I have something to deal with it, clearly, because he's boosting +1 power for each card in your gauge. So right now only +2 power. Looks like he has like a weird 100 million volts. Looks like he has a weird like a Plague Knight special here. That just like can randomly win the game. Because you can spend up to 5 force for +1 power each. Wow. This is a very good card, actually, I think. Looks like MiX opting to tech that, so clearly there is a threat in Ulrich's deck that is contesting that Raijin Oath. Again, we're not really sure what that is yet, because like the coffee shape that Ulrich had, both of those copies are down. The other shape that was, I feel like we've seen no, wait, we're missing one of the specials. I think we've seen 4 specials because we've seen 2 of them as boosts. And I think we've seen 4 specials and we've seen 2 ultras, but we are missing 1 special. So maybe that special is like a long range threat. Anyway, looks like Ulrich boosted to range 3 and struck anyway. So it doesn't have to deal with that Raijin Oath for now. Melian, considering what her options are, she is down both of her ranged dodges. The Dragon's Thrash. Just an assault into the sweep. Just standard boring stuff. Melian will take 4, Ulrich will take 6, however will gain advantage. Yep, Melian gets to pull a card from Ulrich's hand, pulls the second copy of the second strike, the 3 range ignore armor move. But it is Ulrich's turn. Ulrich does have some meter to work with. I don't know if he's going to flip. Again, we don't know what the flip side of Ulrich does yet. I think I surmised that maybe it would be like if you use the action, you get additional power, something like that. Surely it's not something dumb like you move just like more spaces. Although we have seen some ridiculous UAs come out in season 1, and I guess I wouldn't be 100% shocked if it was closer retreat 2, but I would not like it. Maybe it's advanced retreat 1. No, because it's a 3 gauge cost, and I think they'd be a little bit more impactful than just advance past the opponent. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I believe it is still Ulrich's turn. Ulrich did gain advantage of the assault, of course. Which I think was a fine trade there at that juncture. Ulrich had a pretty substantial life lead. Prep, back to Ulrich. Ulrich think about prepping again. Yep, there he goes. Back up to full, has the full 7 cards in hand. Back to Mei-Lian. Reading is starting. Reading's no longer a threat from MiX, actually, just because he used that EX focus really early on. Ulrich boosts, or Mei-Lian, excuse me, boosting defend. Charging power, so +3 power boost from Ulrich. Although maybe if there's there could in theory be gauge manipulation on Ulrich that I have not seen yet. That maybe like increases the amount of power there. Mei-Lian boosting assault, going back to range 4, where that Raijin Oath is just such a dominant threat. 4-10-6. I can't stress that enough. Ulrich moving back to range 5 in striking. EX Raijin Oath, maybe? No EX Raijin Oath. It is the inevitability 1-3-1 stun immunity, ignore armor before close 8 against the Halberdier. Hard countered there. Of course, Halberdier, that second copy from MiX, says that opponents cannot move closer to you, and that inevitability was that last card that we saw. Let's actually take a look at that again. Inevitability 1-3-1 stun immunity, ignore armor before close 8 spaces. Why does Ulrich have so many of these ignore armor checkmate cards? What's the deal here? I guess this is the ignore armor guy. It's also stun immune for reasons. And it's a checkmate, and another powerhouse boost there. Although it's a little, maybe it's a little overcosted. Attacks at range 1 do not hit you. Cammy gets that for free on CQC, although it's an ultra boost, so it's different. And I believe it actually also goes to gauge at end of turn or something like that. But wow, cool. I mean, this character looks kind of annoying to fight. I believe we've now seen the full kit. So we have like a super dive. We have a don't stand at range 3 unless you want to get checkmated. We have don't stand anywhere unless you want to get checkmated. Although this is more of an endgame checkmate situation, although Ulrich does have the +3 power boost. So you can just tack that on and then play inevitability for 6, just whenever he wants. That seems wrong. Speaking of that 6 power, here comes the second copy of that Thunder's Might for +3 power from Ulrich. We have this like garbage assault shape, but has +3 power on it, so it's totally fine. And then we have this shape, which is kind of mediocre when you look at the rest of Ulrich's kit. But at the same time, like when EX is good, and Speed Force is Speed Force is really good action compression because you can move and you can position yourself well for the next strike with +2 speed. So this character seems very strong, I think. I think I heard that this character was pretty strong. I don't think I've heard him in the same vein as I've heard like Mei-Lian, for example, but this character seems very strong, actually. Just has just a lot of good options, you know. And like the options that are not so good, the boosts are good. Specifically these two. We actually didn't look at the ultra boosts for this. Oh, interesting. So these ultra boosts are. So Thunderclap seems like it would be really good with inevitability or like a card like that, or even this other ultra. Static Charge. Static Charge can be good boosts, I think, but I don't know. It feels like it's a little. I don't know about that boost. Definitely, Thunderclap seems like it could be good, although it's on the ultra. I guess you're not really using your ultras for anything else. Like, it feels like Ulrich, or at least this game so far, Omega hasn't really needed to generate a lot of force quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, looks like Mei-Lian is thinking a little bit here. Clearly doesn't. Only one card left in deck, so this hand is pretty much known. I feel like we still haven't seen a Raijin Oath come out from MiX. The only problem is like Raijin Oath trades kind of iffily with inevitability. Isn't that weird? Looks like striking with only one card. Maybe that Raijin Oath was spent and I just missed it. So that Reginoth would hit 1 to 5. Looks like my man O'Mega here is actually tracking the cards super well. It looks like he has tapped one copy of Reginoth, so maybe Reginoth into an inevitability or something. Oh no! The Reginoth will beat out the atomic. That's catastrophic. That is actually catastrophic. We were hoping to see an inevitability come out, so like a 10 for 6 trade, which I think is totally fine for Ulrich, because Ulrich gets positioning, he moves to range 1, where he can do a bunch of things. Like he can always, if he's at range 1, he can always pop out to range 2, right, and strike if need be. But instead, this atomic bolt only speed 5, not good enough for the Rajin Oath, which is speed 6. So that 10 damage swing, Ulrich now kind of a little bit out in no man's land at range 5. Opts for a prep. We can now see the hand. The hand of inevitability, focus, blocked. Oh, and inevitability wasn't hand because he didn't shuffle this. So we have a hand of 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, ionization, and inevitability. That's rough, man. That's really rough. I was expecting, it's like I said earlier, I was expecting the Rajan Oath to trade into the inevitability. You know, force Melian to spend the stuff. You're only going down 4 life on that trade. So your life totals will be even, but you have a bunch of gauge to work with in the future, whereas Melian only has 2. And it's your turn as well, so you can do something fun there. But no, unfortunately, O'Mega called that mix up wrong and took 10 damage for it, and more important, maybe not more importantly, but of similar importance, lost all that gauge to work with. Anyways, that was just a prep action from Ulrich. Back to Melian here. MiX really taking his time with this game. I think not the last time, but the time before we casted MiX, it was that game against Calavantis where they just played like speed demons. Looks like Melian boosting Gale Extension, plus 0 to 1 range, now strike with a wild swing. So what is this, Fusion Drum? There are 4 options left. We're not going to go through the discard to count them. Looks like the options are Dragon's Tempest, Fusion Drum, Rajin Knife. If Omega's count is correct, then this has to be a Fusion Drum, which in theory can be countered by inevitability. If MiX, or if Ulrich prefers the range 1, that inevitability is an option that will just trade back slightly. No Fusion Drum in the gauge, so it'll only be a 2 power 1. And that inevitability will come in and close 8. It doesn't do anything afterward, to my knowledge. No, it doesn't. So yeah, I mean, he can take the 2 for 3 trade, but the problem is now he's down on life, and now we're approaching end game life totals where Ulrich's at sub 10, so he could just die in 1 hit if he chooses to eat this fusion. Fusion drum, I believe. Is it a drum? Is it a? It is a drum. I see. Omega, of course, needs to shuffle his hand. I don't think he did that. Nope. Just opts to block it. Okay, so we'll. It's the dive. Okay, I guess I guess the count was wrong here. On this, or maybe. Oh, you know what? He turned one of his cards later. So we have the Tempest, we have the Rajin Knife, and we have the Fusion Drum. Yeah, against the dive, this block looks a lot better. We did not recognize that there was a dive left. But yeah, that block looks very good against the dive. Looks like Ulrich will opt to block all of the damage, which makes sense here. Has 4 cards left in hand. They're known to be 1/4 ionization and inevitability, which is this one. So these 2 specials, a dive, and a focus left. Ulrich opting to move in and strike, so this is almost certainly the focus. Minions options again were the Rajin Knife, the Fusion Drum, and the Dragon Tempest. So yeah, this focus is looking very good. Maybe MiX should just opt to Wild Swing here. Although when he Wild Swings, he does lose all the capabilities of his discard. But I mean, at some point that's gonna happen anyway. So yeah, Wild Swings the second Fusion Drum, which will hit and then for nothing, and then focus will trade back for 4. Ulrich will draw a card. Again, the hand is known to be Fusion Drum, Regen Knife, and the Ultra from MiX. Although that Fusion Drum engage means that second one will do 4 damage instead of 2. But I'm expecting some kind of prepare or CC action from MiX, and yeah, it's gonna be the prepare. I think preparing is fine there over CC. Maybe there's a world where you CC like this Ultra away to get 1 extra card. Maybe CC another card away as well. I think you want to maintain the 3 gauge, but I don't see anything wrong with CCing the Ultra away. But MiX is opting to keep that in his gauge and opts for a simple prepare action. Ulrich prepares in response. Looks like MiX opting for a strike here, shuffling his hand, or he just knows because you know MiX has been on our YouTube channel before, so he knows to shuffle his hand. I hope Ulrich shuffle his hand. Malian opting for second prepare action, just moving to that full size hand. Ulrich in return boosting Fierce for +2 power. So in theory, sweep is lethal. Oh no, the reading coming out, and that's a no normal in there for sure. Yeah, it's a dive and the Fusion. Oh, it's just a Fusion Drum. So it'll be a 4 power Fusion Drum. But more importantly, it does diffuse the threat of Fierce, and it's just a combat win, right? So yeah, unfortunately, O'Mega keeping a no normal in hand, coming to bite him a little bit. Although I believe that was his last no normal. The other no normal was the focus, which was struck with. So no more normals for Ulrich that are known. But this does put Ulrich in threat of dying to a lot more things. Like for example, one like little cheeky threat that you can see here is actually Cross. Actually no, there's no Cross in here, so not yet. But Cross at range 2 would deal 5 damage, something like that. Like a dive kills, obviously. Even Focus is a card that kills that hits 1 to 3. Gotta be wary of that as well. Looks like Ulrich opting to strike here without moving. Could this be the Ultra? Does the Ultra cost 2 or 3? It could be second strike in theory, which is a 3/4/8 ignore armor. Could just be a spike. It is the 3/4/8 ignore armor against the Dragon Tempest, which is not going to be fast enough. 8 speed beats 7, which is like a weird thing to see without any speed boosts in play. Unless you're a Season 1 enthusiast, that second strike will do 4 damage. Now both players at 4 life. This is probably going to be last strike territory. Very close game, all things considered. Looks like Malian didn't really get to do too many Malian things against the Ulrich here. Malian almost looked like a balanced character to me. Or maybe Ulrich is just that good. I mean, some of those boosts and some of those combat cards, some of those specials did look really good. Looks like the ionization coming out from Ulrich. Moving across to range 1. MiX immediately mashing that light in response. And yeah, those so Ulrich does have like a lot of like random. Oh no, second ionization coming out. That's gonna be a +4 speed on Ulrich's side, and Ulrich, as we said before, does have those like weird checkmate options. So this could be bad. We have an ignore guard here at effective 8 speed. We have. I feel like we had one more. I guess he's not threatening inevitability anymore. Because he's sticking like glue to Malian, opting for that range 1. But yeah, this is threatening, especially if MiX doesn't have a block. Looks like Malian throwing out that EX though, and this could be anything basically. Wow. Let's see if Ulrich has enough speed to contest this. Maybe like an EX Fujin knife. It is the EX Raijin knife. Excuse me. Will beat out the 100 million volts. Wow. I can't believe he actually had the EX Raijin knife. So that will do 2 damage. So Ulrich is not dead yet. And Malian does survive. Ulrich did have to spend a lot of resources on that strike as well. Just opts for a simple prepare action. It has no force to speak of except for that one card that he had. MiX probably doing a little checking of his discard to see, hey, what What cards give me additional range? Mainly N seems super good at range 4 here. Yeah, and now it comes the CC from MiX, very well spotted. Draws 4 cards at the end of his turn. Ulrich crosses into range 1. That EX Raijin Knife obviously down from Melian's side, so that super dominant option as far as speed is concerned is no longer in play. MiX doing low discard checking here. Yeah, very, very tense and close game between O'Mega and MiX. Like I said, MiX is a guy. He's a known quantity. We all know that MiX is a very strong player. O'Mega was a guy I had never seen before. Maybe you guys all knew that he was a strong player, but he's making this Ulrich look good. Maybe like 1 or 2 mistakes here and there from both players, or maybe not even mistakes, more so just misplaced reads, maybe, on whether the dominant option was the threat. But no, both these players are looking quite formidable here, as we're just about to finish up game 1. This was actually a long game 1. I'm pretty sure this game 1 is longer than the 2 sets I recorded yesterday. Both of them, not combined, but yeah, these players are deliberate. They're thinking a lot, which is good. I like to see a nice try-hard game between two Season 1 characters. Looks like Ulrich just opting for prepare action again. Melian does have that +2 speed out. I think I neglected to mention that. So now some of those range 1 threats are looking pretty good. Although is MiX thinking about moving back to range 3? Looked like he was gonna spend 2 force there for something, but then he immediately took it back. Yeah, and Melian opts to move to range 3. Range 3 with light up is just the standard. But looks like that light gets immediately teched. Although Melian does probably have some above curve option. Oh no, I believe we have not seen a copy of Cloud Rider yet. So that Cloud Rider does not hit. That would be the above curve option at range 3 to look out for. With 1 copy in the discard, of course, that would hit 1 to 3. So that would work fine, but no Cloud Rider in the discard yet, I believe. MiX looking to shuffle his hand. Maybe looking to strike here. I mean, if he strikes, it's got to be something like EX Cloud Rider, if anything. Maybe do you think he'd be willing to strike with like an assault or something? I don't know. EX coming out, is that the EX Cloud Rider? That would be a speed 7 option. Of course, you could also mix it up. There you go. There's your mix joke for the day. It's a block against the EX Spike. Very well done from Melian. Gets the call out successfully. That like we pointed out earlier, MiX was threatening the EX Cloud Rider, which would be a 1 to 3 4/7. But no, it is the EX Spike that wins it out in the end. Melian takes game 1 in a very, very closely contested game, I'd say, against Omega's Ulrich. But really, I think what went wrong for Ulrich there was Ulrich was super hard winning. Not hard winning, but Ulrich was winning pretty decently up until that misread on the Raijin. What's Raijin Oath? Excuse me. All these cards, they have Jin at the end, like Fujin, Raijin, Raijin Knife as well. And yeah, that one misstep into the Raijin Oath was all that MiX needed to come back into the game, and he came back in style with the EX Spike at the end to finish it off. Game 1 to MiX. MiX, I believe, has Lily and his classic Zolt left. I don't remember what. I believe O'Mega has this Ulrich, which he just threw out. Although it looks like he's respawning in the Ulrich deck. Alongside Taisei and Lychee, I believe. So both these competitors look like they're coming out with pretty strong characters. Although I don't know what Lily does yet. I've heard that she's a little bit of a menace, but I don't know what she does yet. And of course, MiX on that classic Zolt as well. Let's see if he pulls out the Zolt for game 2 here. Very close game here on game 1. Looks like both competitors are set. Looks like O'Mega re-going with that Ulrich against the MiX Zolt. Ooh. Interesting. Mix not humoring the crowd for the Lily, so everyone boo this man. Unless Lily is like some super toxic character, which honestly Lily could totally be a super toxic character. Mix takes that Ulrich reference, throws it out in the garbage with disdain. No, actually what happened is that Mix already has an Ulrich reference, but we have to create the narrative. We have to create the narrative. So Zolt's a character we've seen 1,000 times before. The inevitability on backside Zolt. Let's see how it compares with the inevitability of, where's the card, of Ulrich. There you go. Let's see how it compares. This should be a very interesting match. Looks like Mix already finishing that mulligan phase. I believe he mulliganed 5. Probably searching hard for those transforms if I had to guess. Zolt's Season 2 character. That cross-up transform just so important. Transforms in general is so important for Zolt to lower that exceed cost down by 2 per transform. Get ideally a 1 cost exceed to Hunter of Men, who is just an absolute menace to deal with. Anyway, it looks like Ulrich will be going first again. I did not catch how many Ulrich mulled. Oh no, the cross up turn 1. Oh no, that's the worst. Your heart sinks when you see that against a Zolt. The turn 1 cross up transform. This card forms the foundation of Zolt's economy. So whenever he gains advantage, he draws a card, and that helps sustain the backside. That is just that. Oh no. That's about as losing as you can get on a turn 1 against a Zolt. Ulrich boosting Fierce, Mix in response boosting Speed, threatening those other 2 transforms here, Blaze of Fervor and Whipcrack. Ulrich in response moving back to range 5, so range 5 is great because nothing from Zolt hits. Looks like it would be the Lightning Javelin up against wait, did Mix? Oh, I think Mix Wild Swung up Blaze of Fervor. That actually kind of sucks. Wild Swinging one of the transforms that you know is not going to hit. The Lightning Javelin will tap for 3. Ulrich will advance to the other side of the board. Zolt, however, striking here. Maybe just a cross coming in from Zolt. No, the spot. Mix with the cheeky plays. Spiking the Ulrich here. You don't see Mix come out with these cheeky spikes too often, or at least we hadn't seen it in the past couple tournaments. And when we did see it, it actually didn't work out so well for him, I believe. But Mix with 2 spikes in this game so far that have just broken, hopefully not broken the spirit of Ulrich, but they've broken into my spirit just a little bit. Prep coming out. Mix's Zolt especially does like to prep a lot early. Make sure that hand is nice and full, nice and plump for that. For when backside Zolt can really start doing some nasty things. Mix also notably moving back to range 3 with the frontside UA Zolt, which is often forgotten, but is actually pretty. I think it's really underrated in terms of people don't rate it at all, and it's useful in some cases. So his normal attacks have hit, move up to 1. The most classic example I can think of is like how you can beat Sweep with Grasp by pushing to 3 and then stepping back to range 4. But there are other niche uses for it as well. Just being able to make small, minute adjustments to range like that, I think, is super important in Exceed. And so that's why I think this UA is quite good. Looks like Ulrich initiating a strike, not choosing to move in at all. If anything, what he should have done, Ulrich actually retreated 1 and then struck. But maybe Omega's not a true Ulrich main. That assault will get popped by the eye. The eye will do 2 damage. Mix already using an eye here. Mix actually playing super aggressive with its resources. Interestingly enough. Wow. Like normally I feel like we see Mix be a little bit more conservative, saving his tools like eye and his spikes and dives for backside Zolt, but looks like Mix is, for one reason or another, is choosing to use those tools a little bit more aggressively here. Comes out to an early life lead. 1 eye is down, stuck in the gauge, but he does have that vital cross-up transformed. Mix opting for a strike here. I wonder if this is just assault. No, it's the Blaze of Fervor. Second transform down, so it looks like Mix is going to be exceeding this turn. Unfortunately, he does not gain an advantage. Mix was ready to to become the Hunter of Men, but you only get advantage on Blaze of Fervor if you move past the opponent, and Ulrich's in the corner, so no advantage for MiX, but you know that Hunter of Men is coming out next turn. So we'll have 6 cards in hand and a card in Engage as well. Okay, Thunderclap will come out. Thunderclap, of course, is the +1 power per each space you moved. So what does this threaten here from Ulrich? It threatens something like... What is it threatening? I actually have no idea what's threatening. It's threatening Speed Force. Wow. It's threatening Speed Force to move to the other side of the board. MiX, of course, has to become Hunter Men here. Whenever you have the opportunity to become Hunter Men, you take it. Ulrich moving to the other side of the board now has +8 power. Immediately teched. Yeah, and MiX just reminding to draw for end of turn. But yeah, this was a +8 power boost, which is perfectly natural. Didn't even see this combo the first time around. That's a little bit nasty. Unfortunately, Tech it's not season 0. Tech is on Dive, and Dive is a relatively important card for Hunter of Men to make sure that he doesn't get hit back. MiX boosting Hunter of Men Cross, excuse me, but maybe reconsidering here a little bit. Definitely looking like he is. Oh, it looks like he just takes it back completely. Oh, I mean, he's holding on to it. I hope he's not holding on to it like that because he's lagging. No, he is holding on to it, but he's going to move to range 5 instead of range 4. Interestingly enough. Ulrich with that +2 speed at range 5. Of course, can close to range 4. Maybe the reason MiX didn't want to move to range 4 was so that Ulrich wouldn't move to range 3 and do the Assault Dive Spike mix-up, if I had to guess. Take a look at some of these other cards. Like Lightning Javelin will always hit. Looks like Ulrich is opting to move to range 4 here. And it's going to be the Ionization into the Gunblaze. So the Gunblaze will miss. However, MiX will draw 2 cards off it. Ionization will deal 5 damage, retreat back into the corner, just out of range of the Gunblaze. But MiX does get to draw 2 cards there and start building up that engine. Or start building up the resources for the Zolt engine. Or the Hunter Men engine, excuse me. Looks like Ulrich boosting Overcharge here. Spend up to 3 gauge, +2 power per gauge spent. That's low-key kind of a nasty boost. Or it can make certain things incredibly nasty, especially with Ulrich's just checkmatey nature. This is like really... This is a good kit. As I believe... I'm sorry, I was tabbed out for a second, but I believe Zolt moved into by discarding 1 copy of Fanatical Purification. Next, taking a look at that discard. Ulrich has gone through only a third of his deck, actually. Half of his deck. 5 cards in hand, 19 total in hand and deck. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm just going to take a little bit of a break, drink some water. MiX opting to somersault back to range 4 and then hitting with that EX Whip Crack. Does Ulrich really have anything to do with this? So the thing is, second Lightning Javelin means that this EX Whip Crack feels pretty free. No gauge for EX Atomic Bolt on the Ulrich side. And it's Zolt, so Zolt can just basically dodge anything else that comes out. So yeah, this inevitability will probably not hit, if I had to guess. Actually, the inevitably might hit. No, because Whipcrack can push him forward, and then MiX can just dive over, if necessary. We'll assault in for advantage. Draws a card. Will he execute a third attack is the only question. Drops the focus and top decks the dive to dive over the inevitability. So inevitability will close 8, however, will not hit because of the dive. That third transform in play for MiX, and well, Hunter Men is Hunter Men with all 3 transforms, has a life lead, a little bit low on the cards admittedly, but it is Zolt's turn again, of course, so he's probably just going to prepare here. If I had to guess, doesn't really have a ton of fuel left in the tank. And yeah, there comes the prepare action. And this is looking pretty bad for Ulrich, I would have to say. Ulrich, however, posted boosting +3 power, so Ulrich does seem to have these insane power swings. Looks like MiX just opting to strike into that, however. Grasp into sweep. Surely there's a way for MiX to dodge this sweep. Otherwise, this is a 9 power sweep coming in. Okay, so we'll push to assault in for advantage. And we'll spend his third attack on the Wild Hunt to dodge. To dodge the sweep. Yep, and that Wild Hunt. Just a reminder on why MiX was allowed to play Wild Hunt here. Apparently, execute means you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay costs. Don't know why that's a thing. Don't really understand it. Don't really get it. But yeah, whenever you see the word execute, I guess that means that you don't have to pay costs. Don't really know what's going on there, but there you go. That Wild Hunt is free. It only does 1 damage, but it's free. And we'll dodge out. MiX, of course, with his advantage. That's the thing about Zolt, right? Zolt basically when he does these big combo chains, will gain advantage on it. So if he doesn't have enough fuel at the end, he can just prep, and it's just like it's ridiculous, right? It's actually ridiculous. Ulrich preps, Zolt preps again. Yep, this is just classic textbook Zolt gameplay. Ulrich boosting fierce. MiX choosing to cross into range 2. We can actually see what options MiX has left. MiX has a Gunblaze left. He has 2 copies of Fanatical Purification, a Wild Hunt, and he has 1 eye left as well. Reminder that MiX did use his first eye relatively early, really aggressively on front side, but it looks like things have worked out extremely well for him. Looks like Ulrich closes 1 and strikes with that Propeller Knight action. It's the Grasp against the Inevitability. I don't believe this I believe this Inevitability will eventually hit because both dives are down. However, MiX can really do some damage here and also pick his positioning for Ulrich with the Grasp. Pick the side rather. So it looks like MiX will execute a sweep to pull a card from Ulrich's hand. Pulls the block, so a little bit more of a checkmate opportunity there. Let's see if MiX goes for another attack. I feel like he won't here. There's really no need to. And yeah, that Inevitability will hit back for 5. MiX does not gain advantage on that, choosing not to spend an eye for one reason or another. Probably because eye is just an insane combat card. Oh, that was not... That was that MiX's initiate? I don't remember. Did Ulrich initiate with Inevitability there? And it's MiX's turn now? Why can I not remember? Oh no. It looks like he's spending for speed on this, I believe. Or power. Probably power, because it's an eye. And yeah, that is game. MiX takes the set 2-0. This Fatal Eye does 2 damage, basically. And then MiX can execute additional attacks, and yeah, that's game. MiX takes the set 2-0. What was the first set? The first game was Melian over the Ulrich in a very, very close game. The second game of Zolt versus Ulrich was not so close, but I mean, Zolt got that turn 1 cross-up transformed, and from there, just eased his way to a relatively comfortable victory. So MiX moves on in the tournament. O'Mega, unfortunately, is out. Single elimination tournament. You know how the rules work by now. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed the content. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.